Falcons! Today we're going to be converting metric units, so you need to have your math journal with you. We will be taking notes and we will be doing examples together. Make sure you pause the video and go get your journal now. Okay, thank you for getting your math journal. Let's get started on those notes. The essential question today is, how can conversion of measurements help me solve real-world problems? I just read the essential question to you, so I really want to go through it a little bit and make sure we understand what it means. So conversion of measurements is exactly what we've been doing for the past month with the customary units. We were converting from inches to feet, or from cups to gallons. So converting is going from one unit to another. This time we're going to use metric units instead of customary units. Now it's asking us how it can help us solve real-world problems. We are going to be coming back to that at the end of this video and answering this question at the bottom of the notes. Let's get started on the actual notes section of our notes. So the first question I wrote in the question column is, which numbers, it's a hashtag but it means numbers, which numbers do I use? When we're converting units, sometimes it's confusing to figure out which numbers to multiply or divide by. So there are two ways we can figure that out. The first way is to look at tables. So the first table I've drawn in the notes is the length units table. So with this table, it tells you how many millimeters are in 1 centimeter, how many centimeters are in 1 millimeter, and how many meters are in a kilometer. So it goes step by step from smallest unit to largest unit. We are going to go over each one right now as you write your notes. We have 10 millimeters in 1 centimeter. So that means for every centimeter, there's 10 millimeters, and we saw that in the unit sizes video. We have 100 centimeters in 1 meter. Okay, so it's 100 centimeters for every meter. There's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer. So we went from millimeters all the way to kilometers in this table by going left to right, left to right, left to right. So this is one way you can see which numbers to multiply or divide by. If the problem is asking you how many meters are in 5 kilometers, you would look at the table for meters and kilometers. Well, here's meters, but that says centimeters, so that's not right. Meters, kilometers. This is the one I need to look at. There's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer, and you can figure that out easily then. There's 5,000 meters in 5 kilometers. Because there's 1,000 each one. If there's 5 of those, you just multiply by 5. We will go into detail about that later. After length, I'm going to move these notes up. We have capacity. The capacity table is very small because there's only 2 units of measurement we're using in 4th grade for capacity. That is milliliters and liters. There's 1,000 milliliters in 1 liter. So that's pretty easy. All you really have to figure out is to multiply or divide depending on the problem, and we'll talk about how to do that. So that's the capacity table. The last table we're looking at in our notes is mass. Now the mass table is also very short. It's grams and kilograms. There's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram. That's what it says right here in this table. Make sure you have all these notes down. Don't forget, you can pause the video at any point to write down the notes before I move on. The last part of the notes we're looking at in this video are some tips about using the numbers and which operation we need to use. So first of all, after the little tables, there's some tips here on how to use the numbers. These are just things that you should notice when you're converting metric units. First thing is all the conversions use tens. So that means you're using 10, 100, 1,000, or maybe larger than that if you're doing a double conversion. So you're never really going to be multiplying by something other than a 10, 100, 1,000, that kind of thing. under here is exactly what I just said. You're usually using 10, 100, or 1,000. You might go up from there. If you're doing a double conversion, you might use 100,000 or 10,000, depending on the units that you're converting. The last tip, or just something to notice, is you can check the tables for which numbers to use, or you can check the prefix. We will look at each way of converting units like that so that you know what I mean when I'm talking about that. So these are just some things to keep in mind when we're converting units using these numbers in the tables we drew. The last thing is, which operation do I use? You can use multiplying or dividing, but you need to know which one you're using at the right time. Here's how you figure that out. If you're going from a larger unit converting to a smaller unit, you need to multiply. So if we're going from milliliters to liters, that's not multiplying. That's a small unit to a big unit. But if we're going from liters to milliliters, that's a large unit to a small unit. So you would multiply. The reason for that is if you're starting with a large unit and you're going to a smaller one, you're going to have a lot more of that smaller unit than you had of the bigger unit. There's going to be more of them because they're smaller. If you're going from a smaller unit, like grams, to a larger unit, like kilograms, then you need to divide. The reason for that is if you have a smaller unit, you have lots of them. You have lots of little small units, and you're grouping them to make big units. You're grouping them, dividing them into groups. That's why you would divide.